through the wisdom keepers who protected this understanding, through the texts they left behind. And we're going to decode the instructions they embedded for this exact moment in human evolution. Because the abundance frequency isn't New Age fantasy, it's ancient remembering. And the signal is getting stronger. They knew. The temple builders of ancient Egypt carved it into stone where only initiates could read it. Not in obvious symbols, but in mathematical ratios, in architectural proportions that created acoustic resonance chambers designed to tune the human nervous system to specific frequencies. The Great Pyramid wasn't a tomb, it was a frequency generator. Modern acoustic engineers have measured the resonant frequency of the king's chamber and found it matches the frequency of the human heart in coherence, the exact state where abundance consciousness activates. In ancient India, the Vedic seers didn't just philosophize about abundance. They practiced it through specific sound frequencies called mantras, particularly the Lakshmi mantras, which aren't prayers to an external deity, but vibrational codes designed to entrain your nervous system to the frequency of flow. The Hebrew mystics embedded the same knowledge in the Kabbalah, the concept of Shefa, divine abundance flowing from Ein Sof, the infinite, down through the tree of life into physical manifestation, not randomly, but through specific pathways, specific frequencies that could be activated through intention, sound, and breath. The medieval alchemists weren't trying to turn lead into gold. That was the cover story. They were encoding the transformation of scarcity consciousness, heavy like lead, into abundance consciousness, radiant like gold, through an internal process they dared not speak openly because the church would have burned them for teaching that heaven wasn't somewhere else but a frequency you could embody here. Indigenous wisdom keepers from the Americas to Australia to Africa all maintained practices of gratitude not as polite manners but as frequency technology, understanding that the feeling of already having is the exact vibrational state that magnetizes more. These weren't primitive people with cute beliefs. They were sophisticated frequency scientists working without modern instruments but with something we've lost, direct perception of subtle energy. And they all discovered the same truth. Abundance flows not to those who grasp, but to those who resonate. Not to those who demand, but to those who allow. Not to those who fear lack, but to those who breathe sufficiency. But this knowledge was systematically suppressed, not through conspiracy, but through economic design. Because a population tuned to abundance consciousness cannot be controlled through fear of scarcity, cannot be manipulated through promises of future security, cannot be kept productive through anxiety about not having enough. The Industrial Revolution required workers convinced they were insufficient. The consumer economy requires buyers convinced they are incomplete. The current financial system requires participants convinced there's not enough to go around. And so, generation by generation, the abundance frequency was bred out of us, replaced by competition consciousness, replaced by hustle culture, replaced by the belief that your value is determined by your productivity and your worth is measured by your accumulation. But the frequency never died. It went underground, preserved in practices that seemed religious but were actually technological, in rituals that appeared symbolic but were actually vibrational, in teachings that sounded mystical but were actually scientific. And now, as the old paradigm crumbles, as more people wake up exhausted from the scarcity treadmill, the ancient frequency is being remembered. Not learned, remembered. Because it was never external knowledge you had to acquire. It was always your original broadcast signal waiting to be cleared of interference. So how does it actually work? How does a frequency that sounds abstract become a tangible shift in your lived experience? There are 3 core practices that clear interference and retune you to the abundance frequency, and they're simpler than you think. Not easy, but simple. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need to believe they work. You just need to practice them with consistency and let your direct experience become the proof. The first practice is somatic gratitude. Not the gratitude you think in your head, listing things you're thankful for, like items on a grocery list. This is gratitude you feel in your body as a physical sensation. Here's how it works. Close your eyes right now if you can. Think of one thing, one simple thing that's already working in your life. Not something huge, something small. Maybe it's the fact that you're breathing without effort. Maybe it's the chair supporting your weight. Maybe it's the miracle that your heart has been beating without your conscious control since before you were born. Now, instead of just thinking about it, drop your awareness into your chest, into the space behind your sternum where your heart lives. And let yourself feel genuine appreciation for this one thing. Not perform it, not fake it, actually feel it. What happens in your body when you do this? For most people, there's a softening, a warmth, an expansion in the chest. That physical sensation is not metaphorical.